As many of you know, I'm actually a fan of Wikipedia. I've used them as an example of how communal systems can work, right? When we talked about Elon Musk said, why don't we have like a review system for the trustworthiness and general credibility of journalists? I used Wikipedia as an example, or WikiTribune, which is like a wiki-style news editor, which is half community, half editor. But that doesn't mean I think Wikipedia is perfect. A lot of people seem to misunderstand that simply because I say it tends to work, Wikipedia does tend to work, that I'm saying everything on Wikipedia is perfect. Far from it. There's a lot of problems with Wikipedia, and I'm going to talk about them today, looking at none other than Mr. Carl Benjamin's Wikipedia page, because there is some controversy. I noticed this a long time ago. I don't know exactly when they added this bit right here, but I noticed it a while ago, and people have started talking about it now. Basically, it says, at VidCon 2017, Benjamin sat in the front row at a panel discussion featuring Anita Sarkeesian as part of a targeted harassment campaign against her. That's factually untrue. And one of the problems I have with Wikipedia is that they won't use alternative sources as evidence. Like, you can literally have a video of something happening, and for some reason they'll say, we won't use it as a source, which is kind of shocking to me. You'd think if there was a video of the event, and there's multiple videos showing Sargon sat down and Anita, called him out, called him a garbage human, and among other things, then to put this in here, not including the part where Anita was harassing Sargon, and then to make it seem like he was engaging in a harassment campaign, that's a huge problem Wikipedia has. So I'll just say, in my opinion, right, my understanding, having been at VidCon when this happened, talking to them, I do believe that they understood they would cause discomfort to the panel by sitting in the front row. I feel like, I could be wrong, I don't want to speak for their intentions. I know, I'm pretty sure Sargon said it was in no way intended to be harassment. But in my opinion, it was kind of a trolley kind of thing. Like, they knew showing up and sitting in the front row was going to bother them. I wouldn't call that harassment. I mean, if you're going to be speaking in the public and people are going to show up that you don't like, well, you got to deal with that. And if there's someone you specifically don't want coming to your event, you probably should tell security and then say, hey, don't let this person in. But I think, that's one of the big problems with VidCon, is that it's overtly political, and they've pretty much sided with Anita in this instance. And that, to me, I thought there was a possibility that VidCon could be changed by just more people from, outside this political bubble engaging, but I don't think that's true, because they've doubled down, saying like, oh, we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. Make sure what doesn't happen? One of your panelists doesn't berate one of your attendees. But let's look at what actually is going on Wikipedia, and let's get into the Wikipedia issue of this, because why does it say that it was part of a targeted harassment campaign? Well, in the talk page, let me scroll up actually. The talk page is where people discuss changes that should be made to the page. So we can see here there's a gain consensus, edit warning, VidCon incident, vice source, and a semi-protected edit request from today. Basically, there are a few people going back and forth over this page. Look at this, the VidCon incident. All of this is, they're arguments between people about what should or should not be in the actual article. I'm pretty sure you have fans of Sargon coming in here arguing in his favor. You've got neutral Wikipedia editors who just don't know better and are saying, this is the source we have and it's what we're going to go with, which is one of the big problems, but what can you do? And then you have people who are probably don't like Sargon, so this is ridiculous. Look how huge this is. This is pretty nuts. One of the things they point out is that Polygon is a source that is claiming or alleging there's some kind of harassment campaign, as is Mike.com. And Wikipedia finds these websites credible because it claims they fact check. Well, that's kind of BS, because I know of at least a few instances where Polygon has been factually wrong and did not fact check, and neither has Mike. I will add that it is very, very unlikely that these digital outlets do fact checking. They don't. The New Yorker has fact checkers. We saw what happened with that. The woman had to resign after she falsely implied some marine tattoo was a Nazi symbol or something. Very few organizations hire fact checkers. Like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal probably do. I would not be surprised, and I would be extremely surprised if I found out Mike.com or Polygon actually had fact checkers. I don't think that to be the case, because I have actually done interviews with journalists from Polygon, and these interviews were never followed up by fact checkers. So let me just break it down kind of how it works. This is not absolute, but I did an interview for The New Yorker. Someone talked to me, asked me a bunch of questions, wrote a story about me. About a week later, I got a phone call from a fact checker, not the journalist, someone else, asking me the questions to make sure that what the journalist said was true. The reason you do this is that maybe the journalist is lying, so they have fact checkers. Okay, I've never done that with any of these digital outlets. The problem here is that Wikipedia is assuming Polygon and Mike are going to be honest. Why? Because they're corporate, they're businesses. And that is a terrible metric to use. Why would Mike be considered reliable for Wikipedia? They're relatively new. You have nothing to base their credibility on. Why would you say Mike.com is more credible than my YouTube video documenting these things or anyone else's? It is absolutely insane to say someone who wasn't at VidCon, who wrote a blog post for a new digital website, has more reliability and more credibility than the 6+ videos of the actual incident. All right? Then you have people who, they don't want to use sources of people who are actually involved, so then it becomes a big, complicated clusterfuck, to say the least. They're arguing in this Wikipedia page that Polygon isn't biased simply because, they don't like Sargon. Someone points out that Gamergate targeted Polygon, like one of the issues was ethics in journalism, and Polygon was a highlight of that. Targeted might not be the right word, but Gamergate was specifically looking at issues involving Polygon. Polygon doesn't like, Sargon. Polygon's called Sargon right-wing, which he's not. So they're factually incorrect, but being used as a source. Why? I think the Wikipedia editors, for the most part, don't know or care. They assume that if it's a .com, they must be telling the truth. And that is a terrible, terrible metric. I think they have systems in place in Wikipedia to deal with this. I'm not entirely sure. But something really interesting did happen at the bottom today, which I think is absolutely fair. There was a request for semi-protection, meaning that only certain people will be able to edit it. I believe it institutes some kind of moderation, whereas normally on Wikipedia you can make a change. Someone might come in and then change it back, and it's constantly in flux. But what they said was, in the YouTube career section, it is listed that Carl Benjamin took part in a targeted harassment campaign against Anita Sarkeesian, yet one of the sources cited, number 12, fails to directly attribute Benjamin himself to a harassment campaign, and the other clearly states that he was not participating in any harassment campaign after an investigation was done. However, it does seem that Benjamin did mean to cause Sarkeesian some level of discomfort. I think that's fair. They proposed the change from, at VidCon 2017, Benjamin sat down in the front row at a panel discussion featuring Anita Sarkeesian as part of a targeted harassment campaign against her, to, at VidCon 2017, Benjamin sat in the front row at a panel discussion featuring Anita Sarkeesian in order to cause her great discomfort. The word great, in my opinion, is it's an exaggeration. That's an editorialization. It should say discomfort, in which case, if that's what we're left with, it shouldn't be included at all. The day-to-day musings of the Sargon bunch shouldn't be relevant to his Wikipedia page. The Wikipedia page should simply say, this is who he is, this is what he does, end of story. Including these small anecdotes that are rather controversial is kind of pointless. And I can say the same thing about my Wikipedia entry, because I don't know who the hell edits that, but I think the Wikipedia on me is a bunch of nonsense. It's not, it's just, look, a Wikipedia page should be like biographical, explaining who someone is, why they're relevant, and for the longest time, my Wikipedia said I built a Zeppelin. It's because me and my friend talked about making a Zeppelin. We talked about it one time on a live stream, and the idea was a Zeppelin drone that can automatically deploy from a charger on a rooftop at our hackerspace, and then go film something and come back. It was a conceptualization. We never actually did anything, but it actually claimed I had built this. So Wikipedia has its problems. And as I mentioned earlier, the biggest problem is the assumption that a business, by simply having a .com, you are a reliable source. Polygon is not a reliable source. I'm sorry. Mike.com is not a reliable source. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, the New Yorker, those are reliable sources, and none of them are perfect, and they have lots of problems. As we just saw with Time and that photo of the little girl issuing that correction. They apparently made up the story. But Time, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, they've been around for a long time. if we're going to try and make a basis for what is reliable, why would we include brand new websites that are partisan? Now, if we are going to say Polygon, hey look, they're a website, they do journalism, they're credible. Okay, that's a fine standard too. In which case, why can't you use videos of the actual event? Wikipedia should be able to say, this happened, here's a video of it. Why do we have to distill the video down to some interpretation by a 24-year-old blogger in New York? That makes no sense. Wikipedia needs to be fixed. Overwhelmingly, I believe it works, right? Everything has a margin of error. When you are dealing with an issue where a large group of people are challenging the media, I am not surprised to see that the Wikipedia entries for Gamergate and for Sargon of Akkad are incorrect, because the media doesn't like these people. So of course they're going to, have their interpretation slanted. When journalists all sitting around talking to each other thinking they know, then they write it, Wikipedia assuming that they're being honest, that they're fact-checking, is absolutely wrong. There was a point, Brittany Pettibone's Wikipedia entry was totally insane, calling her like a neo-Nazi or some other nonsense, and someone commented that in a video interview, she stated her political beliefs. Wikipedia said an interview with the subject is not a reliable source because the subject would lie or something like that. In which case, why is it a reliable source to take the opinion of someone who isn't the person, right? If Sargon says he is a, center-left libertarian, why then would we take the word of someone who doesn't know him claiming he's right-wing? And that's what they do when they use Polygon. So anyway, look, I could rant on this for a really long time. The point I wanted to bring up is that Wikipedia works. It really does. I know a lot of people are angry because specific articles are bad, but I think when you look at this semi-protected edit request, what we're seeing with Carl's page is it's unfair to say he was engaging in a targeted harassment campaign. But someone's going to read a story. They're not going to know the nuances of the political fight. They're going to include it in the article because they think it's relevant, and the fight will ensue. And this is a pretty heated battle. But ultimately, the latest edit, as of today, looks like they're trying to put something in that is a bit more fair. Hopefully that's what happens. I'm not confident. There is going to be a political slant on Wikipedia, and it's unfortunate, but maybe this will work out. At the end of the day, I'm going to say it, Wikipedia overwhelmingly does good, and there are problems that need to be fixed. Maybe for all of you who are concerned about the integrity and credibility, you need to become Wikipedia, community editors. Go through the process, set up your page, learn how it works, and then you can bring that balance with, to correct the problems that you see. That's why I believe in this kind of community work. But anyway, thanks for hanging out and watching. There'll be another video up in about a half an hour, and I'll see you then.